Is your failure to take a step back from work impacting the way that you make them feel in those first few moments together? Every dad needs that moment to breathe, but it's how you choose to show up that has a massive impact on the way they see you and how you make them feel. Welcome back. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, dad, host, and founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Every week, I ask you one uncomfortable question, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. This is about legacy, impact, and the man that your kids actually see when you walk into the room. The world is happy for you to just cope. We're here to help you choose how you show up, how you lead, and how you love. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, hit subscribe on YouTube, and grab some of our free fatherhood resources at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. They're built to support you from those early, messy days right through to the years when they're shouting at you from across the room. All right, take a breath. This week's question is going to test you. Let's get into it. So every afternoon at 4:45 p.m, I have an alarm set on my phone. Whatever is going on, it's interrupted. It's paused. This becomes my minute to pause, reset, and change direction. As a busy parent, we need a moment every single day that readies us for the change in role. From employee, leader, founder, CEO, whoever you are, you need to consciously change role so that you're back into dad mode. We wear multiple hats. We bring different energy to different situations. We have expectations placed upon us, and we hold ourselves to a high standard. But we need to be able to shift. We need to adjust. We need to shed the weight of the world outside. See, this is a small interruption on my short drive to pick up the boys after school. See, in those moments, it's not about what I do, it's about who I am. And it's about showing them more than just that surface level interaction. Because our children, they don't copy our role, they copy our identity. And it's our identity that shapes who they become, how they choose to show up, and how others, those they love, will see them too. This is about intentionally showing them who you are. Because when you strip away the job, the title, the business, or whatever it is you do outside the home, the labels, they see the man that they need to see. So let me ask you this. Who are you at your core? When your children look at you, who are they seeing in those moments where they want to share their stories and tell you about their day? Do they see you smiling in those early moments together, or do they see the weight you're carrying into tomorrow? We're all guilty of it. Failing to shed the baggage from the past, from the day, from that last interaction that left you frustrated at work, or even that failure that you carry regardless of where you are and who you're with. So when your kids look at you, do they see a man defined by pressure or a man defined by presence and power? Do they see the man willing to design a life that will help shape who they become? Or do they see the man confined, the man unwilling to try, the man who has fallen so far from the path that he'd set out on that he can't find his way back? You see, they won't understand it, but they're going to feel it. And that small pause I mentioned, that interruption in your thought process, well, it can make all the difference. Not just to you, but to their day, the way they feel about themselves, and the way that they remember you. As someone working from home, I'm at risk of cutting myself off. I'm at risk of being unable to decompress before that first conversation after school. There are days when there is no escape, no conversation beyond the voice rattling around in the home or in my head. The voice working on the next objective or working to solve the next problem. But that's not the man I am or the man that they need to see. It's my choice to work from home. It's my choice to be more present for my boys. It's my choice to back my partner in her career, especially after years where she felt lost, underappreciated, and lost confidence. This choice, though, sometimes it leads to loneliness, feeling like there's no outlet beyond the walls of the home. And if that loneliness takes hold, well, it isn't just infectious. It shapes your conversation. It shapes your body language. It shapes the identity of the man they see. And that man, he shapes the identity they will embody in the future. So the deeper question this week is this. What identity do you fear they might inherit from you if you don't interrupt the pattern? And if you could choose just one word to describe the identity you want them to carry into their future, what is it? Look, this isn't about perfection. It's about clarity, because identity is not achievements. Identity is what sets their compass. It teaches them to set boundaries, create opportunities. It teaches them to seek out new experiences, to lead, love, live, and importantly, to trust and back themselves. This week, I want you to try something. I want you to write out a couple of sentences. And I want you to start with something like this. I'm Aidan. I'm someone who cares deeply about his family. A man who loves his partner and his kids without condition. A dad who wants his kids to live without limitation. I'm thoughtful, I'm driven, I'm intelligent. I'm focused on what matters, and I'm always focused on the things that really matter to those I love. I make sacrifices for the benefit of those I love, and I do so because I don't want to burn out, but I do so because I want us to come together to be happy and healthy. And ultimately, it boils down to what they see. Well, that's a man who's willing to try. A dad who is always there to stand by their side, support them, and encourage them to try something different. Someone prepared to hold them accountable, but also someone who is flexible and prepared to listen and try to understand them. A man who is willing to admit his mistakes. A grateful person. A humble person. So just by writing it down, you begin to get a clearer view on who you are right now. And that's so important. There's going to be obstacles, blind spots, and even things you're not willing to face just yet. But it's still powerful. So take a moment and describe the man they see. See, by splitting this into two sides, who you believe you are and who you hope they see, well, you're aware of the man that's on show. But what if I said that your identity is what bleeds through in those unguarded moments? Those moments we talked about right at the beginning of the episode. Those moments when you're tired. The unguarded moments. The moments when work dad just spills into dad. These unguarded moments are where they absorb the best and the worst of you. And that's why this conversation is so important. So let me challenge you. What parts of your identity today do you not want them to inherit? And if you've said things like a man willing to try, do you also mean a man who sometimes hesitates, or a man who gives it a go and then fails in plain sight? But this isn't designed to lean on you with the full weight of a 6'9" heavyweight boxer focused on wearing you down and sapping your energy. It's simply a moment for you to look in the mirror, a chance to interrupt a pattern before it sets in, a chance to set a standard for every first interaction, regardless of the day that you've just had. Because kids don't copy the words. They'll copy your hesitation. They'll copy your silence or your body language when you're not listening to what's being said. They'll slump when they need to bring the energy. They'll step back instead of stepping forward. They'll bow their heads when truly they need to stand tall. They'll walk into the room but won't believe they have what it takes to set a new standard. So what's the difference between the dad who was always there and the dad who was always present? And if you're honest with yourself, which one do you believe they will say you were? And now I want you to take a step back. If you could choose the sentence your children will use to describe your identity, what would it be? This is where you really focus on that North Star, that compass point they need to see and how you need to show up. Not want, but need. That's in the times when it's hard, when you're impatient, when you're not engaged, and frankly, you just need to get shit done. It's in the moments when in reality, you're just holding on and doing your best, Because there are moments for us all when we just need to push through and get to the next part of the day, but this creates a disconnect. And when we fail to create a break, to ensure we show a willingness to be present when they need it, well, that's something that we have to live with. And it's something that doesn't serve their future. That small disruption helps me embrace them after a long day at school. If I go back to the original question, what's the difference between the dad who was always there and the dad who was always present? The dad who is present sits, listens, and waits for them. The dad who was always there, sometimes he's just getting it done and making sure that everything is under control. The pause, you see, it allows you to sit with the feeling of letting the world spin for a moment, knowing that they see who they need to see. Because those moments show them this. Dad was at peace. He had a smile, had an energy to him. We knew he was proud. He was always there through the chaos and the calm. He never stopped giving us what we needed. This is what they need to see. This is who we are. This is a big part of the man and dad we are. You and I will have to tread a fine line between the dad who is ready and the dad who needs to get it done. And the way you balance these two conflicting roles will show them the very best of you, the identity that they need to see. So the pause before picking them up, that stops you from letting the stress from today bleed into that moment that really matters. It's what helps them see, not just hear, that dad's proud, because they will feel it radiating off of you. What you need, you see, is a simple interruption that locks in the dad they need to see. A simple sentence, one that moves you from work mode to dad mode. A reminder for you to create space to exhale and just be dad. Don't get me wrong, it's harder than it sounds, but it's absolutely necessary. And you see, necessary action teaches them how to love, lead, and live. It's about turning up the volume, throwing yourself into those early interactions after school or the weekend so that they see dad and not the man of the house who works and provides, but dad, the dad who loves, the dad who laughs. So a simple sentence every single day at 4:45, something that creates a second part of the day, a fresh opportunity to be dad every single afternoon. In my world, this becomes the line in the sand. Every single day, 4:45 becomes the identity reset. That's the moment where the provider, the hustler, the operator dies, and dad is reborn every day, no matter what. Because my legacy is built in the small interactions, the space I create, the consistency in my approach, and the tone of my voice. And what you need, sir, is a trigger. My alarm, it's easy to set. So what's your trigger? What's the exact action you can use to switch bodies, switch states, switch identity? What's the one phrase that you can say to lock yourself into those moments that matter? And most importantly, how do you make it impossible to skip even on the hardest days? Because if you can answer this, you're not just talking identity, but you're living it daily. The trigger is the alarm, one at 4:45 and one 15 minutes later, with a simple text. This moment shapes their forever. It's simple, effective, and super easy to repeat. And I chose this because you only get a series of small moments to shape how they feel about themselves. And every mistake is a lesson that you can't undo. And every regret, well, it can last a lifetime. So what sentence will you use? Think about it. It needs to be short enough to repeat under your breath, strong enough to cut through the noise, and true enough to remind you that every 4:45 p.m. reset isn't just about today, it's about who they become. This one line shifts me from worker to dad, from distraction to presence, from noise to energy. This, my friend, becomes the anchor. That 4:45 p.m. alarm isn't just about time management, it's about pattern interruption. It's your call to arms that says, the next few hours matter more than anything else I do today. I've learned that my energy sets the tone in the home. If I bring stress, they wear it. If I bring calm, they feel it. If I bring joy, they'll believe in it. So at 4:45, make a conscious decision. Be the dad who listens. Be the dad who laughs. I'm here because I lost sight of what was important, and it almost cost me everything. This podcast isn't about making sweeping change. It's not safe, it's not polished. It's what happens when a dad gets real about where he's falling short and how he's learning to rise anyway. Because your kids, they don't need a dad who has it all figured out. They need a dad who is willing to look in the mirror and keep becoming. This isn't for the man who's pretending. This is for the man who's ready. As always, my friend, write it down. Dive into the detail and create something so powerful and unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. And if you get this right, and you silence the noise and you prioritize what's important, my friend, they're going to live how you lived, love how you loved, listen how you listened, prioritize the way you did, and show up in the lives of those they love just like you. This is the role of the modern dad. Stability, strength, passion, perseverance, pride, and above it all, love. All right, that's today's question. You've just spent a few minutes doing what most of us avoid, slowing down, being honest, and looking at how you're really showing up. And mate, that matters way more than you know. Remember, your kids don't need a perfect man. They need an honest one. They need a dad who's willing to reflect, reset, and lead from the front, even when he's tired, under pressure, or just coping more than he'd like to admit. If this episode landed for you, subscribe to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there too so you don't miss any of our new episodes. And whilst I have you, I got to tell you about the antenatal course that we have just launched on the 1st of June. It's available free on YouTube and your podcast platforms. 18 episodes of insight and information that you need to have the impact that you want to have on your young family. From the moment you find out she's pregnant to the moment that that door closes and you, your partner, and baby are all alone. So that's the antenatal series, available on YouTube and all podcast platforms. And if you haven't already, join us at themodernfatherhoodclub.com, where you can access our free resources. You can access the Ultimate New Dad Toolkit, which includes an email companion and access to questions and answers with me, regular training, and 5 ebooks that are designed to help you navigate that first 1,000 days. This has been Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.